Yo, welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live. We're your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, manic warfare. We'll be your guide through the separation of money and state. It's not one of those episodes today. It's a Bitcoin stays winning episode. Tether announced that it's going to start mining using renewable energies in Uruguay. The Texas anti-Bitcoin bill was defeated, and the pro-Bitcoin bill passed. And then something on the regulatory side as well. We have a clip for you guys. Apparently, the state of Texas is moving forward to only allow exchanges that prove that they actually have, the assets, the digital assets that they claim they do. Which, of course, it protects a consumer. Scam exchanges like FTX and Binance, I don't think they would be able to exist. And it's also very interesting as well, right? Gemini, there's an article by Bloomberg, announced that it's looking to move its operations overseas. So it's a continuation of this, right? It's a continuation of Binance did the same thing. FTX did the same thing. You have Gemini doing the same thing. I think the next bull market, and maybe this is way too aggressive to say this, but I think a lot of it's the first 2 minutes, so I can't curse. A lot of the altcoin shenanigans, I don't think they'll be able to, I don't think these scammers will be able to get away with the things that they were able to get away with last bull run. Was this 2021 or 2017? 2017 was the Wild West for anyone who wasn't there, right? Like anything went. And I think with this regulatory onslaught that's coming, I think a lot of these things won't be possible. So we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about Bitcoin mining, Tether getting into Bitcoin mining, which is really interesting. Texas, again, securing itself as the Bitcoin mining state, the Bitcoin Alamo state, like I like to call it. So very, very bullish news today. Wow, don't mess with Texas, I guess. Anyways, before we start the show, I want to bring up my legendary co-host, always optimistic, wakes up with a smile on his face. How you doing, Opti?
I'm good, bro. I got some good rest last night. As you can tell, your boy's been slipping on the Twitter because he needs some rest. I don't want to burn out over here, but hey, man, I'm excited for today's episode. I hope we get another Nico Jones rant because yesterday he went absolutely bananas. Love to see it. And then, of course, in the culture, we got a special guest today, Jedi. So we're gonna talk all things about what Jedi's up to, triple elite memes, all that good stuff on Twitter. So let's just bring him in and let's get this show started.
Yeah, 100%. And our special guest, part of the Triple Elite meme crew. How you doing, Jedi? What's up, dude?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good, bro.
Glad to be here.
Happy to have you on the show, and I'm excited to talk about triple. Like, yeah, Phil C says it himself. The ICOs in 2017 were out of control. Yeah, they can't do that anymore. But don't. It's after the first 2 minutes, so you can't. But the shitcoiners are very inventive, and they'll definitely figure out a way next bull market. Make no mistake. But at least in the U.S., I think it's going to be difficult for them to sell their junk without the SEC stepping in saying, "Oh, look, you guys are clearly selling securities." And it's not me just saying that too. It's like Michael Saylor has said this as well, right? Clearly, regulators are getting a tremendous amount of pressure. They were completely embarrassed after the FTX debacle. Like, that was a disaster. It made a lot of people look bad. Anyways, everybody, no more delay. Let's jump straight into numbers. We got a lot to talk about. Let's check it out.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Brought to you by Nodl. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse because now you can run a Nodl through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. All right, everybody. I also want to tell you about the biggest Bitcoin conference on the face of the earth. We told you about Bitcoin 2023 for a while in Miami, in Miami Beach, Florida. I got to hang out with a lot of you guys in person. Really appreciated. But the next Bitcoin conference, the Bitcoin 2024, the year of the halving, is going to be not in Miami, but in Nashville. It's going to be Nashville, July 25th through the 27th. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference in the world. You definitely don't want to miss it. And you can take advantage of the early bird special price ticketing For a GA, it's only $299. And for industry day, it's $749. And good news, you could use promo code SIMPLY to get yourself a major discount on these tickets to Bitcoin 2024, the largest Bitcoin conference on the face of the earth. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 26,960 sats per dollar, 3,709. Block height, 792,274. Reachable Bitcoin nodes, 17,096. Blocks to halving, 47,726. Having estimate April 20th, 2024, total Lightning Network capacity, 5,350 Bitcoin, capacity value, $144 million, realized monetary inflation, 1.76%, and the market capitalization of Bitcoin, $522 billion with a B. So we were talking about the regulatory environment earlier on, and specifically in the state of Texas. I actually have a clip for you guys. I'm going to play it and then we'll talk about it. Let's check it out.
Millions of people lost money in last year's collapse of the FTX cryptocurrency exchange. But a bill that's been sent to the governor's desk now aims to regulate this kind of digital banking in Texas. Here's KVU's Darren Shaharan.
If you're one of the millions of Texans who have invested in cryptocurrency, odds are you use an app like Robinhood or Coinbase to do so. Well, House Bill 1666 would make sure your money isn't caught up in fraud or stolen by these companies. We've seen it happen before with many digital asset providers, but notably what used to be one of the largest cryptocurrency exchange platforms, FTX. The leaders of that company are still facing litigation after being accused of taking billions of dollars from customers. House Bill 1666 would prevent that by requiring digital asset providers to maintain enough funds to ensure customers can withdraw their assets at any time, eliminate commingling customer funds with company assets, and present a report to the Department of Banking for a yearly audit. State Representative Giovanni Capriglione presented the bill and feels confident it will become law pending the governor's signature.
You will be comfortable knowing that when you invest online, when you're buying cryptos, when you're trading it, when you're selling it, that those assets are being washed, that they are being managed, and that there's an audit trail that protects those assets.
Failure to comply would lead to punishments ranging from a loss of license or criminal charges. Capriglione says cryptocurrency is being regulated all over the world, but Texas would be one of the first in the U.S. to do so. So he hopes the federal government will follow suit and lightly regulate cryptocurrency. At the state capitol, I'm Darren Shaharan.
All right. First of all, great reporting. Second of all, so it sounds like they don't want partially reserved exchanges, but what about banks, bro? Isn't that interesting? It's like, no, like exchange, like, you know, shitcoin exchanges, it can't do this, has to be one-to-one backed. But, you know, I love how banks are just like doing risky shit as well, but they're just held to like a different standard, which I find fascinating. But I mean, this is good. This is great consumer protection, obviously. But at the end of the day, not your keys, not your Bitcoin, right? Like it, like you still, even if you, let's say, even if for some reason you decided to use FTX to buy your Bitcoin, I have no idea why, but let's say you thought that was a good idea. Even if you used FTX to buy Bitcoin and you, every time you bought it, you took it into self-custody, you still would have avoided disaster, right? So, I mean, maybe this creates more confidence in consumers, but at the same time, what we should really be pushing is individuals taking Bitcoin into self-custody. Like, that is really what's going to really move the mark, is when millions upon millions of individuals all around the world are holding their own keys. That's really when, or holding their own wealth, holding their own money. I think that's really what's going to change things. I think, you know, if people's wealth are on an exchange, it's very easy to be co-opted by a government, to be taken over by a government. I think what we need is decentralization of wealth, right? Like, we need people holding their own wealth. And we live in a world right now where people have outsourced that personal responsibility to banks, and that gives banks tremendous amount of power. So yeah, I mean, that's what I would like to see. I would like to see, people taking into self-custody. And again, it's very interesting how they're holding, shitcoin exchanges to a certain standard. And then banks are just like, and it's interesting because with banks, like there used to be a reserve requirement, but during the Trump administration, they got rid of that reserve requirement altogether. So it's not even fractional reserve banking anymore. It's like it's better said, zero reserve banking, because that's like the world that we live in. But of course, the shitcoin exchanges, they're held to a different standard. Banks are doing risky shit. Everyone remembers 2008. Right. So, I mean, like the lesson, like the fundamental lesson, if you get to like the foundation, is stop trusting other people with your money. Other people are incentivized to risk your money if they're holding on to it. Again, like it's not like banks are like, twirling their mustaches and saying, ha, like this person deposited into his account. Now I'm going to take his money, like the South Park meme. Like the person, like he like deposits into the bank and then it's like now it's gone. Like it's like banks aren't doing that. Like they genuinely think that they're gonna give you back a return. Like the shitcoiners think that as well, right? But it's when shit hits the fan, right, where self-custody really, really shines. But I think this is a positive. On a positive note, we have never had, I think since 2017, we have never had this amount of Bitcoin in self-custody. The amount of Bitcoin that's not being held on exchanges continues to go lower. And I think that's the silver lining of the FTX blowup. I think that's the silver lining of Celsius. I think that's the silver lining of all these exchanges, of the Gemini Earn bullshit. Right, is that people are finally learning, even though they have to get their metaphorical fingers burnt on the stove, they're finally learning, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts on this, bro?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it. It's very interesting, the strenuous regulations for Bitcoin companies, and it's a bit ridiculous because we know how traditional banks are run.
Well, I think they get caught up. Like to be fair,
obviously,
like, I think
agree.
like the Bitcoin industry gets caught up in the the crossfire of the shitcoin industry. So it's like they're like these politicians are like, yo, this can't happen in the shitcoin industry, and then they just plump Bitcoin in there, and they're just like, yeah, this applies. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Why do we as Bitcoiners have to jump through so many hoops? And it's basically what you were saying. That shitcoiners make us all look bad. And I've been saying this for a long time on the show, that the FTX debacle will be used as low-hanging fruit for as long as humanly possible, for as long as they can, to drag the Bitcoin industry through the mud. So I guess. When it's all said and done, this Texas news, I guess it does help the common denominator, the average person that may not know exactly what's going on in the Bitcoin and shitcoin space. But I don't know. It seems like, rules for thee, but not for me type scenario. Like it just seems like we have to go through so many different hoops that no normal bank has to go through just for us to get Bitcoin. And it's, something as a Bitcoiner, it's like, it's a bit ridiculous, but I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to help the retail customer, but, no law or anything will actually stop Bitcoin adoption. So I guess on the one hand, as all the shitcoiners are calling for, it's like we need clear regulation so that we can try to offer people products. But I don't know. Bitcoin will just ride around. But hey, bullish. Shouts out to Texas. At least there is some clarity there, and hopefully we'll be able to stack as many sets as possible. So shouts out to the people out there trying to do good, whether they are fully aware of what they're doing or not. At least their intentions are good, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it. Anyways, Jedi, what's your take on this, bro?
It sounds to me like they're pretty confident in the collapse of the traditional banking system, and to a lesser degree the shitcoin DeFi ecosphere, and they're trying to beat it down into a manageable scenario, and they're taking some of the first steps. I'm personally unbanked, and don't really not really for regulation in many ways. But I'm happy for Texas to try to strengthen their banking system, because I definitely don't want to see a collapse soon. because it won't be good for anyone, right? Even Bitcoiners.
Yeah,
that's my take.
That's a good take. That's a good take. But wait. So you kind of buried the lead a little bit there. You said you're unbanked. So was that like, did that happen to you? Were you targeted? Like is that like a
no?
Is that something that you're choosing to do on your own? Like you just like, F banks, I'm going to go full Bitcoin only. I'm going to live on a Bitcoin standard. Is that something even possible to do? Like, how do you pay your bills and all that stuff?
I get paid in Bitcoin, and then I sell my Bitcoin to somebody that pays my rent for me.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Based.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. So you're a hardcore Bitcoiner, bro. You're Bitcoin standard 100%. Like the infrastructure is not even there. You make it work anyways.
That's right.
Cool. Have you heard of the Bitcoin company, by the way? I heard they're awesome.
I think I have. Their logo is the honey badger, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I basically live off the Bitcoin company.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out again. I know I have looked at them. I think I looked at them right when they came out, and I forgot about it since.
Oh man. Yellow says Jedi's a fiat pirate. Speaking of Yellow, Yellow's got a message, everyone.
Don't stop.
Hello, Yellow. That's my boy.
Huddle to that feeling.
Huddle to that feeling. I feel bad for Yellow. When is Bitcoin gonna hit 100K? He man. I can't. Yellow. Shout out to you, brother. I can't believe that you're still holding down that room, bro. That's impressive shit. That's impressive.
What's he like on day 600?
Yeah. All the people watching this out there that don't come into Twitter Spaces, come in and support our boy, who has committed himself to do this for every single day until 100K.
Until 100K. He's going to be so happy when Bitcoin hits 100K.
He's going to be the happiest one.
Like, yep. All right, that's it. I'm done. Anyways, everybody, let's jump into the news. We got a lot to talk about. Bitcoin stays winning. Let's do it.
The Daily News.
The Daily News is brought to you by Blockstream Jade. Built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. It's an open source hardware wallet for the cold storage of Bitcoin. Check out the brand new limited edition color, the transparent green Jade. Blockstream Jade houses a full color camera, allowing for fully air-gapped Bitcoin transactions, scan and display QR codes directly on the device, assign transactions, and verify addresses with ease. Use your Blockstream Jade with your favorite wallet software, such as Blockstream Green, Blue Wallet, Electrum, Sparrow. Get yourself a Blockstream Jade today and take self-custody of your Bitcoin.
All right, everybody. I also want to give a shout out to the Orange Pill app. Stack friends who stack sats. Orange Pill app is building the social layer for Bitcoin. As crazy as this sounds, without the people, Bitcoin is just ones and zeros. Bitcoin is the people. Bitcoin is you, it's me, it's Opti, it's Satoshi, it's Jedi. Download the Orange Pill app for iOS or Android and connect with other Bitcoiners in real life today. Find other plebs that live near you, and you can go into the app totally anon and search for other Bitcoiners by common interests. Orange Pill app is also the world's biggest repository for Bitcoin-only events. If you want to meet other Bitcoiners in real life, this is the app for you. Sign up through the App Store, or you can even pay in sats. Download the Orange Pill app today. And again, Opti and I really appreciate all the love and all the messages that you guys send us. We do take the time to go through them one by one and respond. So we really appreciate you guys. Anyway, so in the last 72 hours, this is Daniel Batten, and he said, in the last 72 hours, this is a tweet for our audio listeners. He said, the last 72 hours has been a golden spell for Bitcoin mining. Texas anti-Bitcoin bill SB 1751 is dead. Joe Biden's proposed 30% Bitcoin mining tax is dead. We covered that on yesterday's episode. And then Tether, renewable mining in Uruguay, is born. So it's very, very interesting. Here is part of, I guess it's a press release that came out. And I love the wording in this. I just want to read it to you guys. So it says SB 751 would have severely inhibited Bitcoin mining in the state. the Texas Blockchain Council, Satoshi Action Fund, and the Chamber of Digital Commerce launched the, quote, Don't Mess with Texas and Innovation campaign on April 10, 2023, in response to SB 1751, an anti-Bitcoin mining bill, which was introduced in the Texas legislature. Thanks to the work of these organizations and more than 5,000 grassroots participants, SB 1751 was never brought for a committee vote in the House and failed to become law. If approved, SB 1751 would have raised energy prices for Texans and discriminated directly against the Bitcoin mining industry. Instead, Texas will be able to maintain its leadership on the cutting-edge energy technology. Quote, the defeat of the anti-Bitcoin mining legislation in Texas is a huge victory not only for Texas, but the whole nation. This is a quote by Dennis Porter. He goes on to say, this quote, this win ensures that energy innovation will continue to grow in America and ensures we lead the world on Bitcoin mining. Most importantly, the win highlighted the power the Bitcoin community has when we unite to push back against bad policy. It shows that our community and industry can win when we work together. And we've referred to the Bitcoin community many times on the show as this decentralized immune system, everyone acting out of their own incentives, right? They obviously hold a bag of Bitcoin, they have Bitcoin into self-custody, and then they kind of chime in. They're like, whether that's exposing shitcoiners, exposing scammers, or, on the political front, which I feel like is going to accelerate as, the separation of money and state continues, and the state, continues to get kind of trapped into a corner. I think the political stuff is going to it's going to become more predominant. It's going to become more obvious, right? The attacks from the nation state, the attacks from the establishment, they're going to become more apparent. So shout out to the Texas Blockchain Council. Shout out to Dennis Porter, Satoshi Action Fund. We had him on the other day, and the Chamber of Digital Commerce. Shout out to all these people. They fought back. And for anyone who doesn't know, who's not in the know, since the CCP, since the Chinese Communist Party banned Bitcoin mining, the vast majority, a huge part of that hash rate migrated to the great state of Texas, right? So Texas is big on Bitcoin mining. Obviously, their grid also kind of depends on it. You can make that argument, which is such a crazy argument to say. But yeah, this is absolutely bullish. Moving on, here's Pierre's take. Pierre was very, very well. He was heavily involved, especially when the New York Times came out with their hit piece, which coincidentally, by the way, came out around the same time that Joe Biden said, "Hey, we must tax Bitcoin miners 30%," which coincidentally came out around the same time that one of the actors from Harold and Kumar came out with a propaganda video piece on the quote unquote environmental effects on Bitcoin. So clearly there's a propaganda war against this, and Pierre Richard's video, which he created for Riot, which he posted on the New York Times tweet promo of their article, was so useful because he literally took a CO2 meter, put it behind an ASIC, and said, look, ASICs don't produce CO2. And that's a very important discussion, because what the New York Times tried to do is they tried to misrepresent. And the real discussion, and I think the world that, these bureaucrats and the people that are anti-Bitcoin, the people that are the change the code people, they want to live in a world where they get to decide what energy use is not okay and what energy use is okay. So video game, okay. Toaster, okay. Washing machine, okay. Electric car, okay. AC, maybe, depends. Bitcoin miner, definitely not. That's a dangerous toaster. We definitely don't want that type of energy use. And that's absolutely bonkers, right? Where we live in a world where a bureaucratic elite get to decide what energy use is okay and what energy use is not okay. That is a very, very slippery slope. And mind you, so it starts with Bitcoin mining, obviously because Bitcoin mining is the clear and present danger, but how long until it becomes something like a gas stove, for example? And that isn't just me saying that. That's their proposals, which is absolutely crazy. Anyways, Pierre Richard goes on to say, this is his tweet. He says, "This has been a great week, and the headlines are just the tip of the iceberg. Lots of great work being done by excellent teams of Bitcoiners on the ground and behind the scenes, around the world, around the clock. It's not always fun, but the mission the mission is the motive. And this falls down to you, all of you individuals, right? Doesn't matter if you have a big following. Doesn't matter if you're an anon on Twitter. Every tweet that you like, every tweet that you retweet, every response that you give back to when the European Central Bank says, hey, inflation is the workers' fault, right? Every response that you do functions as a metaphorical bullet in this information war that we're fighting in the battlegrounds of the internet. So take agency, take action, get involved. Remember, when the New York Times tried to use the Twitter community posts and they tried to debunk Pierre's video that he made for Riot, we fought back. We went back, used Twitter systems, and said that note wasn't helpful. And then the note got removed, right? So this is what we mean by narrative trench warfare, right? This is a battle, it's not a kinetic war. It's a battle over winning over the hearts and minds of individuals. And unfortunately for them, we have the truth on our side. Anyways, that's why they have to lie. That's why they have to misrepresent. Anyways, so in other news, on the other side of the world, or the southern part of the world, Tether invests in energy production and sustainable Bitcoin mining in Uruguay. Goes on to say, quote, Tether is investing in renewable energy sources to support and promote sustainable Bitcoin mining, an essential component in upholding the world's most robust and secure monetary network. To accomplish this ambitious objective, Tether is actively seeking to augment its team by recruiting experts in the energy sector. By harnessing the power of Bitcoin and Uruguay's renewable energy capabilities, Tether is leading the way in sustainable and responsible Bitcoin mining. Uruguay has emerged as a global leader in renewable energy, achieving a remarkable 94% of electricity generation from renewable sources, predominantly wind and solar power. Blessed with abundant natural resources, Uruguay offers ideal conditions for the production of renewable energy, facilitating the establishment of wind farms, solar parks, and hydropower projects, guaranteeing a consistent supply of clean and environmentally friendly energy. And this is what we always say, right? Bitcoin doesn't just use energy, Bitcoin uses excess energy, right? That's why you have the Kingdom of Bhutan that has this excess hydroelectric capacity. And, you know, they throw their hat in the ring. They say, hey, you know what? We have all this abundant electrical capacity and capability. What are we going to do with that, right? Before it would go to waste, Bitcoin gives that otherwise wasted energy value. And that's nothing else does that. No shitcoin does that. No government subsidy does that, right? Only Bitcoin does this. And I think that trend is going to continue to accelerate, and more people around the world are going to wake up to that reality, right? Bitcoin gives value to otherwise wasted energy, which is extremely, extremely bullish. So anyways, just a bullish day today, bro. Usually we're fighting the monetary demons. We're usually covering what the demons are doing and what they're fighting back. But today's a day of victory. Today's a day of victory, right? So the anti-Bitcoin mining bill defeated in Texas. The pro-Bitcoin mining bill passed. The Joe Biden's proposed 30% tax got struck down, and renewable Bitcoin mining is being spun up in Uruguay, and the hash rate continues to make all-time highs. And of course, TikTok next blocks keep coming in. Opti, we stay winning, bro. It sounds like we're staying winning, bro.
It sounds almost like the Bitcoin incentives are just too strong to
too strong. You can't resist it
to avoid it. But man.
It.
I'm glad to see that Texas isn't LARPing on Liberty today, because it seemed like they were for a little bit, because we know embracing Bitcoin is obviously something that all freedom-minded people will be doing and are doing. So instead of fearing Bitcoin, it's nice to see that Texas is embracing them. But of course, I say it all the time, man. You know, does boomers writing things down on paper really affect Bitcoin? I don't know. You guys are still running the node, still taking Bitcoin into self-custody. So I don't know. That's probably another topic. But we know there's abundant amount of energy in Texas, and Bitcoin mining will help Texas stay innovating and pushing Texas into the bright orange future. So you just love to see it. And shouts out to Pierre. He's by far one of my favorite Bitcoiners. I wouldn't be here without Pierre's work, either at Nakamoto Institute or his old podcast, the Noted Bitcoin podcast. A true legend, fighting propaganda with memes. Absolute Bitcoin Chad is where I'll go with this. But love to see just Bitcoin mining continue to help the world and go to places with excess energy and just do what we know it can do, and that is incentivize good energy use around the world and bring everyone into that bright orange future. So it's, again, Bitcoin just stays winning. The Bitcoin incentives are too strong to avoid, and this may be happening in a slow process in real time, but if we really think about how fast everything is happening in the Bitcoin space, man, the hyper Bitcoinization might be here, might be closer than we think, even though it's probably going to take a lot of time.
You had a question.
Yeah, I did.
BTC Sessions is asking Opti if you got a new haircut.
No touching of the tips though.
Why?
That's your guys' thing.
That's just us. Hashtag Ben Nico. Anyways, Jedi, what's your take on all this, brother?
I'm super happy to hear that the stranded energy argument is actually getting really good traction now. Pierre is a soldier. He put in the work, and we in the Twitter sphere, we memed him and helped boost that. Let people know. If you haven't been following it, it's been a thing, and we love him for it. So many of our friends and are actually, doing this up in Canada and in Texas. They're wildcatters, they're out there doing the do, and it's tough work. And my hat's off to them, and the miners, including some people in here right now.
Yeah, 100%, dude. 100%. Shout out to what's going on. What's going on in Texas is, it's incredible. Bitcoin stays winning, whether it's El Salvador, Uruguay, Bhutan, Texas, Nigeria. I don't think these central bankers know what's going to hit them, man. Bitcoin just stays winning. Anyways, before we get to the culture, I want to give a very special shout out to BitPlates. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. Your dog could eat it. Your cat could eat it. Definitely don't want to do it. You want to store your generational wealth on steel. This is the BitPlates Domino. It's designed to preserve Bitcoin wallet backup seed words and passphrases, made from highly corrosion-resistant 316 marine-grade stainless steel. Offers the ultimate protection against extremes of temperatures. You can use the promo code simply for 10% off anything on bitplates.com. Anyways, everybody, let's get to the culture. Let's do it.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. Also, guys, I want to tell you about Swan's new offer. Bitcoin is generational wealth, and you can secure your bright orange future with the Swan IRA. Real Bitcoin, no taxes. Swan offers both traditional and Roth options to best fit your needs. Create your IRA and start adding Bitcoin in less than 1 minute. Transfers and rollovers are available. Swan's Bitcoin experts will get you set up with no transfer fees and no minimum balance requirements. This is real Bitcoin, non-ETF or other derivative. Get the real thing and get it at Swan. Go to swan.com/IRA for more details. If you have any questions, doubts, or concerns, please hit me up on Twitter or send me a message on the Orange Pill app. Anyways, Opti, what are we talking about today, bro?
Well, you guys know what I like to do. I like to feature our guests so they can have a platform to speak about Bitcoin. So, Jedi, I think I'm going to start with the classic rabbit hole story question. What originally attracted you to Bitcoin, and how has Bitcoin changed your life?
Well, I was originally attracted to Bitcoin in 2012 through Silk Road.
Legend.
I had a vendor account there, and I was introduced to it that way. The white paper was posted at the bottom of the page, and that's where I first read it. Thrown really into the deep end because it was part of the it was part of the how the website functioned, and how we were fleshing out the first real, true, free, and open marketplace for Bitcoin to show the world what it could actually do. And
speaking of the Silk Road, what do you think about what happened, what they did to Ross Ulbricht? What's your personal opinion on that?
Well, my personal opinion is that, they gave the guy more time than they've ever given any other human being in history, and that should say it all. That they made an example out of him that is at the level of of something should be considered an atrocity, right?
Why do you think they wanted to make an example out of him?
Because he was the first one to free Bitcoin into a marketplace and show what it could do before they were able to stop it. And I think in some way they thought that they had enough leverage to stop Bitcoin before that, and in the end that he truly was able to free it to the world there, and it escaped velocity way, right? So that it was no longer able to be stopped. I can't see any other real good reason unless they think that he has a whole cache of it and he won't give it to them.
Absolutely. Anyways, Opti.
Love it. I kind of want to jump in on what you talked about earlier. You said you're unbanked. How is it living on the Bitcoin standard today?
Well, it's for me, it's relatively easy. I don't know. It's been actually more freeing because I don't have to worry about the banks shutting off my accounts or something like that, charging me extra fees and things like that all of the time. It just made. I live in Northern California. I work in cannabis compliance, and it's easy for me to work in a bartering type of system to begin with. I've been I've been, like we spoke of before, I'm an avid Grateful Dead fan and follower. I've been on tour since the early 1980s, and that whole community is again a group of people that have their own community within a very small ecosystem, and some of the ideas of living free and have always been something that I've done even before Bitcoin.
So what you're saying is that because of your local community, that enables you to live on a Bitcoin standard, right? It's the community around you that enables that. It's not necessarily that there's infrastructure built.
Yeah. Whenever I need something, I can go to the Bitcoiners that I've that I know that I've made that I've orange pilled, and I can when I take Bitcoin because I can just ask for them for payment in Bitcoin, and I sell it to other Bitcoiners.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah, I have
non-KYC.
Love it. Yeah, I'm on the Bitcoin standard as well. I use the Bitcoin company pretty much to survive. I have yet to figure out how to pay my landlord in Bitcoin because they aren't orange pilled. But anyways, let's go on to the next topic that I want to talk about. Jedi, what is Triple Elite Memes and what do you guys do on Twitter?
Triple Elite Memes were a toxic Bitcoin maxi, group of memers that started right when Twitter Spaces began, right in the first few months of it. We came together as a group of just people that were fleshing out the new space of spaces, and we like to meme, and a few of us decided to get together and meme together, right? And it grew into a group of over 50 people. And we all kind of bounce ideas off of one another, and build memes together, and in some ways, and when we see things in the space that we think are particularly suspect, we bring it to light so that the other Bitcoiners can see and figure out what they think about it. And we put a little spice on it there, as you can see. And we take on some topics that, and some people in the Bitcoin space that are considered peers, because we, sometimes it's hard to tell who's working in the space and who's not, who has corporate sponsorships and who's not. I mean, obviously we understand where you guys are. I mean, you're sponsored by Swan. We have had our issues with Swan. We don't really need to go into that here necessarily. But we just want everything to be, better for the community. And if we can point out things in a way that that gets that done, and apparently we've been doing that to some extent, and we're happy to do it. And it's fun for us, right? We don't have any corporate sponsorships. And we just do it for the love of Bitcoin and for the love of memeing. We think it's a superior form of communication. I do personally. And so does some of our friends, like, the Meme Factory, who inspired us initially to begin this group of memers. Yellow and Greg Zod, shout out to both you boys. Yeah, that's the origin story there.
Love it. Okay. I did see on the Twitter timeline, we got tagged in this meme. I wish I could play it, but there's some background music and it might mess with the copyrights of YouTube. But we went back and forth in the DMs, and you guys have been very critical about El Salvador. We talked about this in the DMs. So do you want to talk about that right now? Why are you guys so critical in regards to El Salvador and the Bitcoin adoption and Bukele in general?
Well, I was there when Bukele and his brother came into Spaces and moved and took us into the chambers with him when he introduced the bill. And most of us in the space didn't know if it was real or not. It was a very interesting time. It was really kind of some of the first times I'd really heard about El Salvador in general. And it grew into this growing support for El Salvador in general. And I was asked to do with a couple of other Bitcoiners that do like a Bitcoin. They did the Bitcoin day, and it was like a 24-hour tribute for Bitcoin in El Salvador. And Lucas, one of the Twitter friends, was organizing that, and he still does it. And he introduces like new countries to Bitcoin Twitter and Bitcoin Spaces. Well, I had some reservations about supporting, like I'm a non-statist. I don't support politicians in pretty much any way. So I had some reservations about actually doing the show, because I'm a toxic memer, and I didn't really want to be involved in anything like that necessarily. But I ended up talking to Newt, and I asked his opinion on what he thought, and he said, what you should just keep your mind on is that this is celebrating what Bitcoin did in El Salvador, right? Not the other way around. And not to be supporting like the politicians of that country. And so I took that initial stance, and I just, as I do here, essentially. And then we started seeing, what's been happening in El Salvador as far as suspension of human rights and mass incarceration in an attempt to quote unquote take back a country, with the use of state and military force to do so against a population. And I think that human rights violations have been happening en masse. And I think that some of the larger Bitcoiners like Max Kaiser has been celebrating these events and basically packaging commercials for the space and for El Salvador in general. And literally his entire timeline has been dedicated to Bukele. In my opinion, he's cemented himself as a courtier amongst the royalty of El Salvador. And that doesn't take anything away from what he's done in the past. And literally the man orange pilled me.
So,
you know?
Okay, so hold on a second. So what is a courtier? What could you define what that is?
Somebody that has the ear of the king in general, or the president of the United States. It was like the Sir Francis Riley of our day.
So Bitcoiners, right? We don't have a nation state. We didn't have a nation state until El Salvador, meaning we didn't have a jurisdiction that, or a state really, that has a monopoly on violence in certain geographical area until El Salvador. So Opti and I joke about this all the time, but we're half joking, right? Hey, look, we're going to hold the line in the US, but if they make Bitcoin illegal, and obviously we operate a Bitcoin company, right? Where else is there to go? So, you know, you could say what you want about Max, and you could say what you want about Nayib Bukele and that he's a dictator, and, you know, and that he has dictator tendencies, and, you know,
There's
this
not
and that.
evidence yet of that, but we're close, you know.
Yeah, but how is the U.S. any different? How is any other country? Do you, like, so like I come from Latin America, right? Like you're judging a Central American country that has been plagued with war and corruption for decades, and you're holding them to the same you know, standards that you would hold a Western country. You know, that whole area of the world is just plagued with corruption, right? So like,
I do.
So like, why is it that you guys are focusing on El Salvador? Like, for example, like what about Venezuela? Like, you know, the country completely destroyed by its government, went from one of the wealthiest in the world to one of the poorest. What about the corrupt government of Venezuela? What is it about El Salvador that has you so focused on? I would say Nayib Bukele, who just recently brought on Seyfedin Amos as a presidential economic advisor, meaning it's the first nation state that's going to push forward an Austrian economist, right? Not a fiat economist or a Keynesian economist. I would say that is actually helping us. It's not hurting us. Like, wouldn't you say that it's better attacking central bankers or attacking governments that are pro fiat versus attacking governments that are pro Bitcoin?
Yeah, I believe it probably is. You know, I just think that I still have the problems with the human right violations. You know, that's
what about
still
the human rights violations in Venezuela? What about the human rights violations in the United States? What about the human rights violations all over Central America? Why is it specifically El Salvador?
Just because we're focused on that. I mean, the entire Twitter feed is filled with it. And that's probably why. I mean, when the focus shifts to something else, and, you know, hopefully, you know, some things start to change in a way that makes it feel a little more like some freedoms have been restored within El Salvador, and not like an overwhelming sense of force creating the semblance of people feeling like they're free.
What about the human rights abuses by the gangs that controlled the country before Nayib Bukele?
Yeah, I know they had serious issues with extortion within the country, and I think, like, I don't think there was any real good answer to it, but I still think that the way that they're they're treating the prisoners within the country is excessive.
You mean the gang members that murdered people?
It doesn't matter. Yes, even them.
Okay, what about the human rights abuses by the U.S. government? What about the human rights abuses
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
happened in all part and like all part of the world? Like,
and I've had the same issues. I've done time in prison myself. You know, and it's for things that are legal today.
So in your eyes, right, just to be clear, Jedi, right? So the country lowered their murder rate from being one of the highest in the world to being one of the lowest in the region, and you still think that's a net negative?
I don't think it's a net negative, but I still think that, you know, it's gone too far there. It's gone too far.
What has? The crackdown?
You know, too far too quickly. Yes, the crackdown.
Even though it's potentially saving innocent people's lives?
Well, you think that this has stopped something that has been tribal in a region for 100 years. I mean, this does not change in the hills of the surrounding areas. It doesn't change a thing. You know, just because they've swept the streets in the major areas in the downtown areas of El Salvador doesn't mean that the rest of the surrounding areas, it's still not just as bad. They did the same thing in Jamaica back in the 1980s, and you guys might be too young to remember it, but they had a whole push to try and make Jamaica a place that was, you know, shown to be safe.
So you have a right, you have an issue with how, you know, these criminals are being treated in El Salvador. What would you say to the fact that Nayib Bukele has a 85 to 90% approval rating in the country? That's much higher, by the way, than, you know, Joe Biden here in the U.S.
Yeah, well, it looks like the people have spoken. I just, you know, that's my thing is that I wouldn't go there and give up my rights, and that's, you know, they're citizens of the country. If they want to do that, they're more than welcome to.
Yeah. So what would you say about your rights being chipped away here in the U.S.?
Well, I think that, you know, that just leads to revolution, you know, in some way. So let's hope it's the peaceful one through Bitcoin, because I can't see any other way that's not going to affect everything in general. So making one little area in El Salvador safe, quote unquote safe, and having, you know, pupusa stands and, you know, in the you know, in the conversation, you know, it just feels like a commercial, right? And I just want people to, you know, really think about this on more than one level. You know, I think, you know, I don't want to see people get hurt ever, and I'm not, you know, I'm not like pro prisoner or something like that. I think that there's a place for that, you know, and I realize how violent MS-13 is and some of the other gangs. And they borderline being like, you know, terrorists. So it's like, you know, what do you do in these scenarios? It's really hard to say. It's just really difficult to see someone like Max Kaiser almost cheerleading the event, you know, and it's like, lay off that aspect of it, because it still involves humans at the end of it that are suffering on all sides of it. So
yeah, but these humans that you're speaking about, right? Not all of them, but a big majority of them were causing harm to other human beings.
Yeah, but there's the people who are left are the mothers and the fathers of those men that are locked up in prison because they're products of the environment of being so poor that they had no other choice. And that's politically driven. That has nothing to do with them. They're just tribal warriors out there trying to make it.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately they made them into monsters in order to do what they did, right? Which is terrifying. So now they have to dismantle what it is they did themselves, Nico, you know, and these men have to suffer for it. And if that's the case and the people want it, then that's what they're asking for.
So you're saying that the actions, the individual actions of these gang members are not their fault. It was pushed on by someone else onto them. Is that what you're saying?
Collectively, yes, Nico.
Okay, I love this conversation. I love that we are having differing opinions on Simply Bitcoin. But there is one last thing I'd like to touch on, lighten the mood a little bit. Jedi, one of the things that I do love about Triple Elite memes is the sign the waiver movement and the Bitcoin Fight Club. I was at the first one. Can we talk about this real quick before we get back into the memes?
Absolutely, man. Okay, so Triple Elite memes, we started the Bitcoin Fight Club 2 years ago in Miami, and it was it's in response to a few people that we battle with back and forth in Twitter Spaces, Bitcoin Fuckboy and Amish and a few others fought for the first time, and one of the guys from Bitcoin, magazine, and one of our guys from Triple Elite memes, and we held 3 fights at a venue that hosted us, and what it was is kind of response to people talking smack to one another, and just being like, it's kind of like a fight. It's a fight club, right? So we kind of decided to form that. And people showed up. So, it looks like you were there at the first one. And so he moved it. There's one going to be coming up in Nashville. And so we have the hashtag sign the waivers. A lot of people have probably seen, and a lot of people, including one of our fallen friends on Bitcoin Spaces, was at Staysky 12, and Staysky, as she was rest in peace. She passed away in a car crash on the 16th of this month, and you can see it in my Twitter feed. It's right below my pinned tweet if anybody's interested in checking it out. And she was the one who was always hollering that at people, telling them to sign the waiver. And we have a waiver set up at Bit Fight Club, so that we can fight people that want to fight each other up.
And this is legal, by the way, right? This is
legal.
This is legal fighting. Like, this isn't just.
Yeah, it's in a cage. It's,
we actually have waivers. We set it up with MMA fighting. As you see, the ring up there is actually the fight. So
I love this. I thought it's awesome.
That's Fuckboy and Amish right there.
It was awesome. I highly encourage this. I think I have too many concussions, so I'm trying to save my last brain cells here. But I think it's awesome that we can, transport the keyboard warriors into real life, and people face the consequences of talking shit on the internet. I think it's great. I think this is good for the community as a whole, or at least the Bitcoin community. Because I hate saying Bitcoin community, the Bitcoin Twitter community. I think this is an awesome thing to do. So hey, you guys got beef, sign the waiver, and shouts out to David and Represent, because you guys were merged out. That was dope.
Oh man,
yeah, just leaving you the space there to say something for David X, who's one of our TEM memers. He's in, we're all independents, within this group of memers, and David X is one of those guys, and which encourages. There's a lot of MMA, enthusiasts within our groups, and we think that iron, steel sharpens steel, and we're about that life, getting in spaces, debating in the ring in real life, debating, seeing, people in real life that, that may not be, exactly legit in the space, and, get in the ring, hashtag sign the waiver, BitBoy. Anybody, if you want to get in the ring, we got a bunch of people that would love to just put on some gloves and see ya.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize this is all legal, right? You guys checked all the boxes and you guys did it all the right way. Is that correct? Because yes, I know fighting isn't legal in some states.
Yeah, well, we can't declare a winner. The boxing commission, there's rules. We've figured it out, and everything will be safe. And we have we've even had offers from some people like McShane to referee, who's a professional MMA fighter, and they at these events they have their own people there to begin with to make sure that it's that everything is correct, that gloves are right, and all our guys are safe and know what they're doing. So we do have that control, guys.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that after the first event, like the respect on both sides was palpable, and it was like, okay, like this was like an awesome I don't know, bonding experience for everyone, and it personally made me respect everyone on both sides of like, okay, like people are still actually men out there. I know people are saying it's just games and stuff, but I don't know. It was a pretty cool community bonding experience, to say the least. But Nika, I'm looking at the time now. Maybe we need to get into the memes. We need to
get into the memes, bro. It's just a great conversation today on the culture. Been loving it. Anyways, everybody, let's get to the memes. Let's check them out.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Kaboom Racks. I get this question all the time. Nico, where should I buy Bitcoin miners? The answer is Kaboom Racks. It's the best place to buy Bitcoin miners. That's where you're going to find the best deals and the best prices. Start your mining utopia today. To check out their racks, you got to go to t.me/Kaboom Racks. Join their Telegram group and start your mining journey today. Kaboom Racks.
Hold on, Nico. Look at Wine. Wine's challenging Nico. Sign the waiver, Wine.
Winner gets 30K. Winner gets 30K.
That's all inside jokes. That's inside jokes behind the scenes for everyone here at the Simply Bitcoin Telegram group. But anyways, this is the meme review where you guys tag us in memes. You guys send us memes in our Telegram group or on Twitter, and we do our best to get as many as possible. As you guys know, we are in an information war, and the best way to ridicule the PSYOP, the $1 trillion PSYOP campaign against you, is by making the memes, spreading the signal, getting the calls of actions out there, and also, building up your buddies' morales, your friends out there, so that they can keep their head in the game, because it is a war of attrition out there. And it's just very important that everyone stays on the mission. We understand exactly why we do what we do. And, just continue sending us the memes. We appreciate it. Of course, drop your meme review score in the chat, and we will cover it live. Okay, first meme is by my buddy Ropium, and he goes, "Who did you help along the way? Hashtag Bitcoin." And I know you guys saw this meme format in the past, where we got the one guy looking at the cliff and he's sad, and we have the other person optimistic looking at the Bitcoin future. And here we have them talking about it on the bus. And of course, the optimistic one has laser eyes, and he's just like, "Have you heard about Bitcoin, good sir? Because Bitcoin will allow you to live a better life." And why are you so sad? Because you just need to lift weights and stack sats and eat good, and everything will be better for you. Anyways, this next meme is by the Cooge on Twitter, and he goes, "The worst part of the ledger leaks were the hex mailers." And we have this meme here. I don't know what movie this is from, but we got Johnny Depp here with the kid, and he goes, "Ledger leaked your address." And the kid asks, "Will I forever live my life in fear of attacks?" And Johnny Depp gives him a hug, and he goes, "Worse, you will have endless shitcoin flyers, absolutely devastated and wrecked." Okay, this next meme is by @Maxie's Club, and it goes, 411. and it simply says only. And we got a female Pepe and a Bitcoiner Pepe eating some pizza, and the female goes, he's probably thinking about other women. And the Bitcoiner just goes, there will only be 21 million Bitcoin. This is all we ever think about. How can I get more sats? Because there's only ever going to be 21 million. Okay, this next one is by my boy at Flacky Boy, or aka Flacco on Twitter. And again, I don't know where this meme comes from, but it's a good template. And we got Nicolas Cage here, and he goes, how were you able to hodl through 2 bear markets? And we have Pedro on the bottom with the crazy look and the smile, and he goes, I can't find my private keys. The force hodl confirmed. Okay, this next meme is by at Toxic Bitcoiner, and we got this TradCon female Wojak girl, and she goes, I haven't met my soulmate yet, and she's in a bar or a cabin on a farm, and he goes, I haven't met my soulmate yet, but I like to think that's just because they're busy doing something really important, and the really important thing is a Pepe the Frog with his ASIC plugged in. He's reading the Bitcoin Standard. He has his cold card, and he's listening to Michael Saylor say,
what's the second best? There is no second best.
Okay, this next meme is by at Vera Vita, and it goes, hashtag Bitcoin doesn't care. And we got refurbished honey badger don't give AF with laser eyes and the Bitcoin logo, and it's got the what are the porcupine needles in it, and they are AI and taxation and can't scale and number go up mindset and solar flares and government FUD and crime money and ESG and volatility and culture wars and ordinals and China ban and quantum computing and Bitcoin is dead. It's never coming back. Yeah, absolutely devastated, because I have to give you guys some charts here every once in a while. I gotta feed the hopium in here for you guys every once in a while. So shouts out to the Bitcoin therapist, aka the BTC therapist on Twitter, and he goes, green candles are coming. And if you guys haven't seen this chart, this is probably one of my favorite charts ever. It is the Bitcoin price in yearly candles. And as you can see, there is a very real pattern here. And I know history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And so, hey, I know I like to stay stupidly bullish here, guys, and I think hopefully this is going to happen again, but we don't know what the future holds. I'm not going to speculate here because Nico yelled at me yesterday. But anyways, just look at the pattern. 3 green candles, 1 red candle, 3 green candles, 1 red candle, 3 green candles, 1 red candle, and 2023 is the first green candle. So will we be seeing 2 years of green candles? I absolutely hope so. Let's go. Okay. All right. Drop your meme review score in the chat and we will cover it live. My meme review score today, Nico, is this Pez candy Bitcoin orange pill dispenser. If you know, you know. I think I'm going to keep it mint too. Well, it's not really mint, but I'm not going to open it.
I'm going to give it some flashcards.
I thought it was the sound.
Both.
All right. I'm going to give it some frequency work, hit you in the heart chakra.
Oh, heart chakra frequency. Absolutely.
Good way to clear everyone's aura today.
Clear it. Anyways, we started a poll before we get to everyone's score numbers. I asked everyone in the beginning of the show if they thought the U.S. government was going to make Bitcoin illegal, and the poll closed with 172 votes. 84% of you said no, and 15% said yes. So very, very interesting numbers. But before we get to
wait. Before we get to the scores, Wine is saying that I am 300 pounds. This is fake news.
Opti's massive. He's like a sumo wrestler. Anyways, we want to give a shout out to our clothing sponsor, represent.ltd.com. Opti is wearing the Simply Bitcoin merch. More Simply Bitcoin merch is dropping soon. You can take advantage of the promo code Simply-Bitcoin. Get 10% off anything on the represent.ltd.com store. And you could scan the QR code on the screen right now. It will take you directly to the Represent store, and the only product that's available at the moment is the classic Simply Bitcoin Represent classic snapback hat. Anyways, Opti, let's get through some of the meme scores. Let's do it. Yellow. Yellow Gibbs, this meme, a Gege milking the scene, copy, pasta, tweet. Very, very nice. Roman Stack Sats, meme score, a knack for the memes, a knack for Opti's fresh fade, and a nah to gang violence. Next one. We got Elaine, a world where Bitcoiners never act like fiat warmongers promoting violence. Bitcoin is love. Very, very nice. A Miami girl rejected by wine but recommended for Opti. Opti fighting Winekiss to defend my honor. Live tonight at BK 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If Opti loses, I dump him. Steve Dre, one MS-13 tat removal without anesthesia, Yellowstone style. Oof, 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 oof. That sounds painful. Narwhal Tacos, meme score. 13 IYK. I know. What is it?
Dude, how do you not know it by now? If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. There you go. And Sail Dog, I give those memes 5 rounds of Bitcoin Rumble. Okay. Oh, my camera overheated.
Okay, I'll get this one. Kresler, I'll rate that review. Those mailers are not my fault.
It's basic biology. I give those memes the song Ripple by the Grateful Dead.
Hey, great song.
Very, very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Phil C, I give the memes 4 more years of Bukele 2024. All right, and the next one, Winekiss, my score, Rocket Ship, get on board 3 times.
Rocket ship, get on board.
So why?
Rocket ship, get on board.
So why?
Rocket ship, get on board.
So why?
All right, that's it. We're out of time. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. We really appreciate it. I want to give a very special shout out to our awesome guests. Thank you so much for joining us today. Also, shout out to the Triple Elite Memes crew, Jedi. Why don't you tell everybody where they could find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Jedi Scale. And thanks, Nico, for letting us come up, letting me come up. It's real. You let even people that don't agree with you or on every issue come up. It's the proof. It's right here. So keep doing what you do, Nico. We love you, man.
Appreciate it, man. And of course, that's what Bitcoin's all about, right? Bitcoin is the great unifier. You could have differences, beliefs, ideological differences, personal differences, but Bitcoin is the common denominator. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. And that's what we advocate for. It's not a red versus blue, it's green versus orange. The party of green is a party of slavery, central bank digital currencies, and fiat. And the party of orange is a party of freedom, prosperity, and Bitcoin. Anyways, Jedi, it's been an honor to have you on the show today. Guys, that was Simply Bitcoin Live. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. But the number one thing you could do to help push the peaceful Bitcoin revolution is share all Bitcoin content. Check out our audio version if you're on the go. Anchor, Spotify, Apple. Shout out to all the sats that are being streamed to us on Fountain. We love you all. We will be back tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you want to join the after party, join us on Twitter Spaces, which we're co-hosting with the best place to build your Bitcoin stack, swan.com. Shout out to the best producer in the game, producer Jacob. Opti's going to be holding it down until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Simply Bitcoin, Spaces, and Swan. So definitely check it out. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out, everybody.